Hey folks, welcome you all to a new video. This is CA Ganesh Bharadwaj. So in this video, I'm going to discuss a few very important things about the upcoming costing exams of this November 2023 attempt. So in this video, I will be discussing about the exam question paper pattern, then a strategy to score 60 plus, wherein I will be discussing about a few important things, and finally the most important part, I will also be talking about the mental preparation. So I'm recording this video on the 4th of November. So I am expecting to release this video by the time you come out of your law exam, so that this particular video will help you at the time when you are in your study leave for the upcoming costing paper. Are you clear with this? So now, first to begin with, how will your exam paper pattern look like? Obviously, most of you will already know this. But anyways, let me set the context. I will not take much time because I know that you are already in that exam zone right now to revise. So first, let me just share with you the exam question paper pattern. So your exam question paper will look somewhat like this. You have question number 1, wherein you will be having 4 questions, each carrying 5 marks. So that makes it a total of 20 marks here. Then you have question number 2 to question number 5. Each of these questions carry 20 marks each. So this 20 marks can either be 10 marks plus 10 marks, or it can be 10 marks plus 5 marks plus 5 marks, or it can be 10 marks plus 6 marks plus 4 marks. Generally, so question 2 to 5, you have 4 questions, right? So 4 questions, each carrying 20 marks, gives you how much? Gives you a total of 80 marks. Are you clear with this, right? Generally, out of these 4 questions, 2 questions will have 10 plus 10. And 2 questions will have 10 plus 5 plus 5 or 10 plus 6 plus 4. So this is how generally the past exam trends look like. And finally, you have question number 6, which is purely a theory question. And in this theory question, you generally have 5 questions, each carrying 5 marks each. Out of these 5 questions, you are required to attempt only 4 questions. So 5 into 5, that makes it 25 marks. So overall, your exam paper will get printed for 20 plus 80 plus 25, which is 125 marks. Out of this, you need to attempt for 100 marks. That is, question number 1 is compulsory, no other choice for you. Remaining from question number 2 to question number 6, you can attempt any 5 questions. You can attempt any 4 questions. So between question number 2 to question number 6, you can attempt any 4 questions. Then why did I bucket it like this? Question number 2 to question number 5 are generally fully practical questions, and question number 6 is an exclusive theory question. For that purpose only, I segregated this. So this is about your exam question paper pattern, how it will look like. Now quickly, let me just move to the next very important part, the strategy part, that is how to score a 60 plus. Now, the first and foremost thing that I want to tell you before we enter the strategy part is that your exam hall, your exam situation, your exam time, that is 2 to 5, or more so, it is going to be 1:45 to 5 p.m. right? So because 1:45 to 2 is your reading time, that's very important, right? And then 2 to 5 is the time when you are allowed to write the exam. Now this time, your exam is like a war. It is like a battlefield. Now if you look at this, in any battlefield, what they will do is all the soldiers will take a sword as well as a shield. They will take a shield and a sword. Why do they take a shield? The shield is meant to protect them from their opponent, and the sword is meant for attacking. Clear? Similarly, you should have 2 plans in place. One is defense, the other one is attack. Now let me just take a common example that we all can relate. Now I generally draw the analogy of cricket. If you see, in a game of cricket, when even the top players, like let us take Virat Kohli, or let us take MS Dhoni or Sachin Tendulkar. Now, when they are reaching 90s, that is, their runs, they have scored about 90 runs. When they are nearing the century, this time what they will do is they will play very carefully. They will keep defense. They will protect their wicket. Here, the intention is not to score more runs. Somehow they need to cross this 100 mark. Now, once they cross this mark, 100, now they have achieved their purpose. What they will do is, now they will start attacking and they will hit the ball for a 6 or 4, as the case may be. So in every successful battle or every successful game, you require both defense as well as attack. Now, sir, why are you telling all these things? Similarly in your exam, you need to have this defense plus attack strategy for all the papers. What do you mean by defense? Scoring 40 marks, bare minimum. So the moment, till the time you score 40 marks, play it careful. You should know how you are going to get this 40 marks, right? Once you get 40 marks, you know that you are going to clear this paper for sure. Now you can just any kind of bouncer, you will automatically get that confidence. You will move into the attack zone, and any kind of question, you will automatically start writing it in a full confidence level. That is called the attack. Now, similarly, based on this pattern, now I am going to tell you the strategy where you can easily score an exemption in our subject caustic. Now, I know you might have already heard from many people, or from your prior experience itself, you might have felt that costing, getting an exemption and all is difficult. Absolutely not. It is just the way in which you look at the subject. So this video, 100% fully, I'm going to just talk about how you can crack this exam in a particular manner. If you look at it from a different perspective, I'm telling you this is going to be very, very, very simple. And I'm telling this to you, it is very difficult to fail in costing paper if you look at it from a very, very logical perspective. Mark my words. I know the full, I'm talking this with full understanding. I'm telling this to you. I know what you might think, sir, it's very difficult and all. No, I'm telling you here, it is going to be easy. Provided you look at it from a very practical approach and a practical perspective, which is what I'm going to tell you right now. Now, guys, look at this. What I have done is, I have analyzed the past exam papers, the past 5 exam papers. So, for instance, if you look at this, this is the last exam, May 2023 attempt. So, question wise, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, question wise, I have just found out whatever, from which chapter, from which topic they have picked all these questions. I have been doing this for the last 10 attempts, but what is important right now is the last 5 attempts. Now, I'm not going to tell you word by word, line by line. I'm not here to waste your time, because I know right now time is utmost essence for you. Now, what I have done is, I have compiled all these things, and in my opinion, these are the very important chapters. So I'm not a kind of person who gives this A, B, C analysis. A chapter will be important, B okay, C least important. No, I'm going to put the facts in front of you as it is, and you can automatically see for yourself how easy it is to pass costing and even get an exemption. I'm just going to put the facts in front of you. You decide for yourself. Clear with this? So I'm just putting the facts in front of you. I'm not doing anything beyond this. Clear? So now this took a lot of time for me to do this research. For me, there is only 1 paper or 2 papers, that is costing and FM. But for you, you have all the papers to prepare. So I understand that is the reason why I'm coming up with this video at this point of time. Right? Now, guys, if you look at this, I told you, I classified the entire question paper into question 1, then question 2 to 5, and then the last question number 6, which is theory, right? Now, let us focus on this question number 2 to 5. That is 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 4 questions. Each of the questions carry 20 marks, right? This 20 marks, it can be 10 plus 10, or it can be 10 plus 5 plus 5, or it can be 10 plus 6 plus 4. Any which ways it can be. Clear with this? Generally, I'm telling you, out of these 4 questions, 2 questions will be 10 plus 10, 10 plus 10. Then the remaining 2 will be 10 plus 5 plus 5, 10 plus 6 plus 4. Something like that it will be. Clear? But don't worry about it. But institute is not very, they are not saying this is how we will be testing every time. They can also change this, but I'm just telling you the past trend. Now, guys, based on my observation, now just a minute. Yeah. Now, based on my observation, in the past 5 attempts, every single attempt, this chapter cost sheet has been tested for 5 marks. I mean, it has been tested for 10 marks. So look at this. That is why I have mentioned 5 out of 5. All the 5 attempts, they have tested cost sheet. Generally in cost sheet, the areas that they test is the format of cost sheet or the format of cost sheet with stock valuation, right? This is the maximum they test. In one attempt, they even tested this multi-product cost sheet and all. We have done this in the regular lectures. If you have attended my regular lectures and even my fast track, so we have covered this Kaju Katri example I told you. These are the typical type of sums that they generally cover, that they generally ask in this particular chapter. Easily predictable. Now tell me, 10 marks in this one chapter, single chapter you cover, 10 marks you will get. So during your exam leave right now, that is your study leave, you now first start with this chapter cost sheet, quickly revise it, all the important areas. So if you have attended my lectures, then all the library of adjustments you go through it, and all the red ink items I told you the day before the exam, it has to pop up. These are the items where you have committed the mistake during the classes. All the efforts you have put right now, it is the time to reap those benefits. Automatically you will get complete control over the subject. So if you have not attended my lectures, it is still fine. From whichever source that you have prepared, make sure that first you start with cost sheet, and generally the format of cost sheet with the stock valuation or without stock valuation, and all those new format, that is your R&D cost, quality control cost, and all those extra new additions and all these things might be that. So this is the general area that they test in cost sheet. Next important chapter is marginal costing. Very important chapter, because last 5 out of 5 attempts they have tested marginal costing also. Now marginal costing comes for 10 marks here. Then in some attempts I have noticed, apart from this 10 marks, even in question number 1, it is tested for 5 marks. Last 4 out of 5 attempts, it was tested in question number 1 also. So this chapter marginal costing, you can say it comes somewhere between 10 to 15 marks for sure. It's a never miss chapter. Clear with this? And in this attempt, I also predicted one question that might come. That is your RTP question. In RTP, they have given one question to calculate the break-even point with stocks and all. I have done a separate video on that. So if you have not seen that video, I have shared the link to that video in the description. So please watch that video. Mostly, if my guess is right, then they might test that question for sure in this attempt, because I told you that question, that particular question till date for CA intermediate costing, it never appeared in any of the institute publications, RTPs, anywhere, but suddenly out of the blue, they are giving it in this particular attempt, November 2023 RTP. So I am most certain that it is going to be tested for the upcoming attempt, right? Then the next important chapter is standard costing. Again, last 5 out of 5 attempts, every single time standard costing they are testing for 10 marks. So a short 10 mark question from standard costing, and there are only 4 variances: your material cost variance, labor cost variance, variable overhead cost variance, fixed overhead cost variance. So suppose you have not touched this chapter, it's fine. I have already uploaded a separate video on this entire revision of standard costing. That 10 marks is guaranteed here. Are you clear with this? Now, after this, overheads and ABC. Now, overheads is a very important chapter, and ABC is technically an extension of overheads, relatively a small chapter. Here also, they are testing 5 out of 5. Last 5 out of 5 attempts, they have tested for 10. Sometimes even ABC 10 marks, overheads 10 marks, or sometimes 10 plus 5, they have tested like this, or sometimes both put together 10 marks, or generally overheads and ABC put together, they are testing it for 10 marks. Now, guys, you tell me, cost sheet, marginal costing, standard costing, overheads ABC, right? Overheads ABC, 5 chapters. Okay, so overheads and ABC are 2 chapters. Now you tell me, guys, 5 chapters if you cover, you can score that 40 marks. Your defense is taken care of. Now you tell me, is costing difficult to crack? Can't you cover 5 chapters? Guys, you would have already covered by now. Obviously, you are approaching the exam. Even if not, sir, I know only this way. Now you revise. Can't you do the revision in one day? 40 marks guaranteed. Your defense is taken care of. So you have protected yourself. You cannot fail. Are you clear with this? Now, one more thing. Now you can come to the attack mode. Once you cross that 40 marks, you will get tremendous level of confidence. And now you will see any kind of questions I might be able to attack, or even if I don't know, you will at least start logically approaching it. That is the kind of confidence you get the moment you cross that defense mark. Are you clear with this? That's why I drew the analogy of defense and attack. Now, look at this. Contract costing. Contract costing. This is the best bet that I can make on contract costing will most certainly be tested for this attempt, November 2023, for a simple reason, two reasons. Reason number one, now institute, look at this. This was a trend. I especially marked contract costing here. You look at this, the red ink is contract costing. So now if you see July 2021, so they introduced this for 5 marks. So before that, contract costing was not tested. Then in December 2021, it got tested for 10 marks. Then in May 2022, it got tested once again for 5 marks. And in the last two attempts, November 2022 and in May 2023, it got tested for 10 marks. The trend shows that contract costing institute is giving importance for this, number one. Number two, this chapter contract costing is being removed from the new syllabus applicable from May 2024 onwards. So which means this is the last attempt where you can see contract costing. So I feel somehow my instinct says that contract costing can come for this attempt, because generally when I share the strategy video, I don't talk about contract costing, but for this attempt, I think contract costing will most certainly come. Right? So that is another 10-mark question for you. Are you clear with this? Now 50 marks is already covered. Just 6 chapters, 50 marks. Half the paper is done. Guys, is it difficult? Now people are saying it is difficult alone. No, you tell them this is what it is. Then what is the big deal? What is the reason for you to get afraid of this exam? It is very, very easy for you to crack it. Now, the other thing is process costing and joint and byproduct. So these two chapters are again, joint and byproduct is an extension of process costing. If you cover these two chapters, one more 10 mark is over. So now 40, right? So contract costing, if you cover 50, right? So this particular subject becomes independent. You need not depend on other subject for an aggregate. Now, if you cover this process costing and joint and byproducts also, you will cover that 60 marks. Now what happens? You need not write this paper again for a lifetime. You will score an exemption. So now you tell me guys, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 chapters exemption guaranteed. As simple as that. 8 chapters exemption guaranteed. Cost sheet, marginal costing, standard costing, overheads, ABC, contract costing, process costing, joint and byproducts. 8 chapters, 60 marks, done. You are done with this. Clear with this. In fact, it will be slightly more than 60 marks also, because I told you marginal costing is getting covered in your question number 1 also. Clear? Then the past trend also indicates that in this question number 2 to question number 5 segment, cost accounting systems, they are generally testing it for 5 marks nowadays. Sir, what can come for 5 marks? That also I will tell you. One, either reconciliation statement can come, or they can ask you for journal entries, to pass some journal entries. Generally, in the last 5 attempts, out of 5 attempts, cost accounting system is generally being tested for 5 marks, at times for 10 marks. So conservatively, I am saying 5 marks definitely you will get from this chapter. Now you tell me 65 marks we have covered here itself. Now tell me guys, is it difficult? Absolutely not. Now let's go to question number 1, which is the compulsory question. Now in this compulsory question, there's one interesting thing that I observed. Every attempt you see, definitely one question comes from unit and batch costing or from the chapter labor. If labor gets tested, they will not test 5 marks in that question number 1 category. They will not test unit and batch costing. If they are testing unit and batch costing in that attempt, in question number 1, in these 4 questions, they will not test labor. So definitely between unit and batch costing and labor, they are generally testing in question number 1 for 5 marks. Are you clear with this? Unit and batch costing, what they are testing, generally for 5 marks, they can test on EBQ or a simple batch cost sheet, they can test you on this. And in labor, generally for this 5 mark area, what they are doing is they are testing on labor turnover ratios. Labor turnover ratios, at times some simple calculation in Halsey and Rowan. That comes in. These are the areas. I am being more specific also. I'm telling you which areas can come in this segment. One more 5 mark is done, guys. Right? One more 5 mark is done. Then again, in material cost, what they are doing, last 4 out of 5 attempts, you can see this chapter material generally comes in the question number 1 5 mark category. Generally, it comes in question number 1. Clear with this? So if you see here, so this is about your May 23 attempt. Look at this. Okay, here. Yes, look at this. November 22 attempt, material cost has come. Here they are tested for EOQ. By the way, I was telling you, between unit and batch costing and your labor, generally one question gets tested. Look at this. In May 2023, EBQ, that is unit and batch costing, they tested. right? Now look at this here, in this attempt they also tested labor cost, I'm telling you conservatively, I'm telling you either of the two will come. If both comes, it's well and good. Now look at this here, batch costing they have tested here, that is from unit and batch costing. So in the remaining three questions you cannot find labor at all, right? Now you look at this here, so here they had tested labor, correct? So in the remaining other three questions you cannot find unit and batch costing. Now you look at this here, so here you can find labor cost. So in the other three questions you cannot find unit and batch costing. So this is a small observation I made. This can also, in this attempt they can also change the pattern. So I'm not saying that this is how it will be. A reasonable calculated prediction is what I'm doing. So this is actually, don't think of this like dot exactly it will be like this, but this is what we can observe from the past trend. It can enable you. Right now you need to strategize and do it. It's all about strategy. It's not about how hard you work in the next 1 or 1.5 days. It's about how smart you work. You should know which are the topics that you need to revise, and that is the reason why I'm sharing this deliberately in the last minute, that is before your exams. Clear with this, guys? Yes. Then material cost, I told you generally it gets tested for 5 marks. Marginal costing, there it comes in 10 marks between question 2 to question 5. Once again in question number 1, generally it comes for again it comes for 5 marks. Generally for this 5 marks, what they are testing, they are testing concepts on break-even point, margin of safety, indifference point. These are the 3 areas that they generally test. Any of these 3, or maybe if it is a small sum, all these 3. For 5 marks, this is what they are testing. In the 10-mark category, they may test absorption costing versus marginal costing, or they might even test this questions on limiting factor in 10-mark area. In one attempt, they tested one small limiting factor sum for 5-mark area also, because in marginal costing, it is examiner's favorite area, because any mark you can say, you can find questions for that. If you want a 10-mark question, you can find questions for 10 mark. If you want a 5-mark question, marginal costing has concepts that can be tested for 5 marks also. All the varieties are there in marginal costing. So 10 to 15 marks sure shot will come from marginal costing. So this is what I'm saying. And finally, service costing. This is a very easy chapter. Sure shot, it comes for 5 marks in this question number 1 category. So question number 1, earlier some 2-3 attempts before, service costing was generally tested for 10 marks every attempt. But now what they are doing is they have changed it, and they have, that's where I said now contract costing is getting tested for 10 marks. They have moved service costing from 10 marks to 5-mark category. So every attempt, service costing comes in this 5-mark category. So now here, if you see this 20 marks approximately, let's say out of this 20, even 15 marks definitely will come from the areas that I have mentioned here. Clear with this, guys? Clear with this? And now finally you have theory section. In this theory section, generally they test from these concepts: basic concepts area, budgeting chapter, material cost. So you can just have a look, just turn the pages in theory, just have a look at it. Past 5 exam questions and past 5 RTPs, especially this attempts RTP theory and all, you just have a look at it and you are done with it. That's about it. Are you clear with this? So now if you do this approximately, I have also told that 15 marks comes from these 3 chapters out of the 25 marks, because in question number 6 you have 5 questions out of which you need to write 4. Internal choice is also there. So out of the 25 marks, generally 15 marks comes from these 3 chapters. This also I'm telling you. Now guys, you tell me, your exam paper gets printed for 125 marks. Out of this, 100 marks you can easily predict is what I'm just telling you. This is what we discussed. 20 plus 65 plus another 15 here. So I just told you it's very easy for you, and I told you where 100 marks come from. Most importantly, first cover these 5 chapters, 40 marks guaranteed. Then cover these 3 chapters: process costing, joint and by cost accounting system. Then contract costing, process costing, joint and by products. Another 3 chapters, exemption guaranteed, right? Then you can do all the remaining concepts, remaining chapters. I have showed you which are all the important chapters, how they are being tested. In fact, I have even discussed the concepts, handpick those concepts and also revise. And then if you still have time, the remaining part you can do. Strategize it and do it. Guys, it is very difficult to fail. I'm telling you, it's difficult to fail. You can pass easily. I didn't do anything. I didn't bring up my own research. I'm just putting the facts in front of you and you are seeing it by yourself. It is that simple, guys. 5 chapters and that's all. Can't you finish 5 chapters? Everyone can do it, right? Then why are we feeling that this subject is going to be difficult? It's just the mindset that people are giving us. They want us to be in that fear zone. No, you just throw it off. You look at it rationally, and I'm telling you, it is as simple as that. I've just broken down the entire syllabus into small, small pieces, and I'm telling you, this is all it takes to score an exemption in costing. Clear with this, guys? So these are the important chapters. Do it in this particular order. If you want, I will just share this as a PDF file. I will share it with you, so you guys can have access to it. Based on this, you can also do your order of importance. Based on the order of importance, you can also start preparing for your exam, right? So that's about the important chapters part. Now, time management, very important. I'll just take 5 to 6 minutes, and with that I will close this video, because I know that yes, this is a very, very important time for you, and this is a very important video. This is a very important thing that I'm sharing the last minute, because I want to be with you guys till the last second you enter the exam hall. That is the reason why I'm making this video, because I want you guys to feel that you have the support. Recently, one student messaged me, or specifically asking me for this video, like, sir, share the exam strategy. Anyways, I was having it in my mind. I wanted to deliberately share this video, during this costing exam study leave. So that's why I'm doing it right now. Now, next thing is about the time management. Now guys, so now you have 3 hours of writing time. You have 3 hours. That is, 3 hours is 180 minutes, right? You have 180 minutes, and in this 180 minutes, you need to write for 100 marks. So the exam paper gets printed for 125. Please don't write the optional question and all. You should write only for 100 marks. Don't write beyond that. Clear with this? Institute is very clear. If you write one extra question and all, they will just strike it off. Even if it is a good question, even if you've answered it well, they will strike it off. Clear? You just write for 100 marks. Now, you tell me, guys, out of this 180 minutes, now this invigilator will come. They will ask you to, they will verify your credentials. They will ask for your autograph and one sticker. They will give. All these things are a procedure, and apart from that, here and there you might lose focus or something or the other. For contingency, let us remove this 10 minutes. So technically you have only 170 minutes to crack an exam that carries 100 marks, or in other words, can I say you have only 1.7 minutes for 1 mark. That is, per mark you can afford to spend only 1.7 minutes, or for a 10 mark question, you are allowed to take only 17 minutes. For a 20 mark question, you are allowed to take only 34 minutes, right? Have this timer with you. This is the time allowed for me. And this is how I'm going to approach the exam. Have this particular mindset. Clear with this? So for a 10 mark question, you can maximum take 17 marks. For a 20 mark question, you can maximum take 34 marks. Suppose in a 10 mark question, you are writing and 17 marks you have crossed. Then tell yourself that you are working on a borrowed time. You are borrowing the time of the next question and writing. So in the next question, you should be able to set it off and do it. Have this timer. You need not keep looking at the watch again and again. It's a mental timer that comes automatically by itself. Clear with this? When you are in the exam hall, automatically you will start. If you have this in the back of your mind, you will start being at the peak of your productivity, because you know that every question has a targeted time. So I cannot afford to deviate from that. If at all I deviate, then it needs to be offset using another easy question. This mindset you should definitely have in your exam hall. Clear with this, guys? So 1.7 minutes for 1 mark. That is 10 mark questions, 17 mark. So for a 20 mark question, that is for an entire question, you should cover it within 34 marks. Are you clear with this? Right. Now, the most important part that I want to talk with respect to time management is this theory. Now, generally students, what they do is, costing, sir, it's a practical paper. We don't study theory. We don't want to know theory also. We are not going to study anyways. That is a grave mistake, guys. Don't ever go to your costing exam without touching theory. Why? Now, no doubt, you might know all the practical questions. Question number 1 to 5, maybe assume you know everything. But will you have the time to write the entire question paper, all the practical question? Will you be able to cover in this 3 hours? That is a big question mark. It depends on how lengthy the paper is. Now, sir, should I prepare for theory? 100% yes. I also told you which are all the important chapters for theory. These definitely you cover. The other chapters, just run through it. Sir, what should I cover? Page by page should I turn? No, just the past 5 exam questions, past 5 RTPs. Theory questions, just have a look at it and leave it there. That's about it. Clear with this, guys? Now, what is the advantage of attempting theory question? I will tell you. Now, for you to write a theory question, it will not take much time. You just need to write 4 or 5 points and you will get that. That's about it. So theory question, it was time saving, number one. Number two, inside this sixth question itself, they are giving you an internal choice. Out of 5 theory questions, you just need to attempt 4. That's about it. So which means that you have an additional choice. Now guys, this is a blessing in disguise, and for some reason students are ignoring it. Institute is giving you a choice. You should exercise the choice only in the exam hall. But what you are doing, before even you enter into the exam hall, we are denying ourselves of the choice that institute is providing. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Clear with this. Now, sir, right, should I prepare for theory? Absolutely yes. Should I write the theory in the exam? Wait, I will tell you. Now a few possible scenarios. Scenario number 1. Let us say out of these 5 questions in theory, you definitely know 4 or you even know 3 questions. 3 or 4 you know. Definitely write this theory question. No matter what, you definitely write this theory question. If you even know for 15 marks, definitely write this theory question. No questions asked. Definitely write it. Clear with this. Even if you know the entire paper, definitely write theory. It will help you a lot. Clear? No, sir, I know only 2 questions properly in this theory. Now, the remaining 2 questions out of the balance 3, I need to, yes, something I know, I can write something. Then wait, don't take the decision right now. In that 15 minutes reading time, don't take the decision. Now, what you need to do is, you start writing all the practical part, that is question number 1 to 5, whichever questions you know first, you start writing it. Now, you just look at, by the time you reach about 4 or 4:15 p.m. Now, you look at the remaining questions, how many remaining questions you have. This is the time when you can actually judge whether the paper is lengthy or not. Clear? If the paper you feel is lengthy, in your opinion, don't bother about others' opinion. In your opinion, if you feel the paper is lengthy, right, whatever question you are doing, finish that question. The next question you are picking is definitely theory. Why? Because if you start doing the next numerical problem, then there is no guarantee that you will finish that problem, and there is no guarantee that you will also get the entire marks for that. No, don't do that. By around 4 to 4:15, you decide whether this paper is lengthy or not. If you feel it's lengthy, then finish that sum that you are doing. Immediately jump to the theory question. Do it. Even if you know 2 questions in theory, it's okay. You only, sir, I only know 2 subdivisions. That is 10 marks. It's okay, fine. Write the entire thing. Write 4 questions out of this 5 internal choice. Theory you write. Whatever practically you have learned, logically you write, because you need not mug up anything and write by yourself. You can just write in your own words. Institute is allowing that. Are you clear with this? So theory, guys, this should be the strategy. So scenario 1, if you know 3 or 4 questions in this theory, definitely write. If not, decide it around 4 to 4:15 based on how lengthy the paper is. This has to be the strategy, guys. Clear with this? Now, one more very important thing. If you feel that you have some little extra time, that is, if you have finished the paper little early, fine, it is unlikely, but yes, if it happens, then what you do is, you need to go back and try to check whatever answers that you have done, if you have the time. So this is an optional thing. I will not say that, you need to necessarily do it, but if you have the time, obviously you just check the answers, whatever you have written, because in my opinion, one mistake that you spot can definitely give you minimum 1 mark. Clear? Now, I will share with you what happened to me when I wrote my costing intermediate exam, like that is CA intermediate costing paper. Now, I wrote for 96 marks. Now, I had 10 minutes left with me. Now, I had to decide whether to write the remaining 4 mark or to go back and check this 96 marks, whatever I have done. This 4 mark question, I know this, but at that point of time, due to the pressure and tension, it didn't strike me. So somehow I was trying to, recollect my memory, but I wasn't able to do that. You know what I did? Thankfully, you know what I did? I decided not to write this 4 marks at that point of time. That is a spontaneous decision that I took, because looking at the question, I felt like, okay, I might not know, but let me go and recheck whatever that I have written. Let me go and recheck whatever I have written. You will not believe, I spotted around 8 to 10 mistakes 8 to 10 mistakes that easily carried about 10 to 15 marks inside whatever I have written. I went back and corrected these 8 to 10 mistakes in whatever questions that I had written. That easily gave me 10 to 15 marks, and I ended up scoring 94 marks in my CA intermediate. I had written only for 96 marks, but whatever I wrote, I had made a mistake that I was able to rectify it. Now you tell me, had I continued writing this 4 marks, now there is no guarantee that I would have got those 4 marks also. Instead, since I went back and rechecked, I got some 10 to 15 marks extra. Now, I am not saying that that is because of my intelligence. At that point of time, I didn't even know what to do. I thought this will be better and I did it. As simple as that. Clear with this? So, I'm not saying this to brag about myself and all. No, I'm telling you certain things you need to decide at that point of time, because it is all strategy driven. At that point of time, you just do what you feel is right. You are the best judge for the moment. Are you clear with this, guys? So do that. In case you feel like you are stressed out and you feel that you are not able to do this, fine, you're almost like 10 marks or 5 marks away and you feel that you cannot proceed forward. It's okay, fine. Don't tense yourself. Go back and revise and just recollect whatever you have done. Just try to figure out if you have done any mistakes, and that's about it. That's all it takes, guys. That's all it takes. Are you clear with this? Now, the last and the final part that I want to tell you guys is about the mental preparedness, the mental preparation. Right now, the most important factor is your mindset. It's about how your mindset is. Now, sir, first paper accounts, yes, it was very lengthy. Yes, I know that. It is not just lengthy for you, it was lengthy for everyone. Remember that, right? Law today you would have written, right? However it is, don't carry it forward to the next paper. Now, I will share with you personally what happened during my CA intermediate. I prepared like anything, literally. I prepared for everything. And then in the first paper, so I finished my school and directly I wrote my foundation. It's CPT back then. I cleared, and then I didn't do a regular college. Immediately the next year itself, I wrote my intermediate. Paper 1, accounts, right? I went to the exam hall. I started the paper. When I was writing, things were fine. Slowly, as I proceeded about 4:30, I felt that the paper was very lengthy. Now, at around 4:58, 2 minutes, that's all. We have to, they are going to take the paper away from me. I still had two 16-mark questions. That is, out of 100, I had written only for 68 marks. And I was left with 2 minutes and I had to write 32 marks more. So I was literally, what I did, I cried like a baby in the exam hall. I'm not ashamed to say this. I cried like a baby because I know the kind of efforts that I put, but I couldn't practically implement it in the exam hall. I literally cried like a baby. What I did was, so I did the remaining 2 questions I couldn't do. Out of these 2, 1 question I picked, and it was a question related to incomplete records and all. So I just opened a few ledgers and all, gave it a name, wrote the opening balances. They snatched the paper from me. That's all. Literally, I wrote for 68 marks, and the next question I had opened the ledger account and put some opening balances. This is all I did. And I came home, I cried like anything. I couldn't prepare for the next paper. I said, I am skipping this attempt. I don't want to write this attempt. Somehow, I got convinced, fine, okay. I don't even want to think about this paper accounts, because if I start thinking about it, then it will affect my next papers. I just forgot, or I wouldn't say forget, but somehow I came through that moment. That's where my family, they all helped me a lot. My parents, they said, don't worry about this. It's okay. You just go and write the remaining papers. Somehow I was convinced. And then I wrote the remaining papers and all. And I just, finally, I said, okay, fine. Let me just wait for my results. Guys, you will not believe. Yes, no doubt I scored a 94 in costing out of the 96 marks that I wrote. But I'm telling you, till date, the best paper I have ever written in CA exams is this accounts paper. You know how much I scored? I scored 69 marks. That is the full marks for whatever I had written. Now, the only thing that I want to share here with you is our opinion really does not mean that is how the future is going to happen. Our opinion doesn't mean anything. There is a destiny. What has to happen will happen. You have just done your part. Come out of it. That's as simple as that. Many students are feeling this attempt accounts is very lengthy and all. I do get it, guys. I do get it. Remember, you are not alone, and there cannot be, institute cannot fail everyone also. Remember that first. Yes, it is meant to be lengthy. In that case, if you felt lengthy, for whatever you have written, that you will get marks. Have that confidence. Whether you get it or not, today, you feeling that you will not get the marks doesn't make any sense. Just proceed forward in your life. Have the right mindset and have the right strategy with respect to costing. I'm telling you, this is all it is. This is all it is. Scoring an exemption is very easy. First of all, let's talk about the defense part. 40 marks, 5 chapters, 40 marks, done. Cost sheet, marginal costing, standard costing, then your overheads ABC, right? This is what I said. Cost sheet, marginal costing, standard costing, overheads ABC. That's all. 40 marks done here. Then also do contract costing, process joint and by products, another 20 marks, exemption guaranteed. And then you can proceed about the other chapters like material cost, service cost, and all of that. And then you can just cover easily. Are you clear with this, guys? It's as simple as that. Have the right strategy and always believe hard work never fails. Hard work can never fail you. You guys have put a lot of efforts. If not for you, who will clear this exam? You have put a lot of efforts. Have the confidence in yourself. Have the faith. I'm really sure that you guys are going to make it very big in life. Now remember this, work hard, party harder. So after your exams, you can have all the fun you want. Party doesn't mean boozing, drinking and all. Party just means enjoyment. You can enjoy in whichever way you want. You want to go on a travel, do it. Watch a movie, whatever you want, you do it. But work hard right now and party harder later. You can party anytime you want. You have a way, you have a life way ahead of you. All you need to do right now is have a peace of mind and calmly just move in the right direction. It is all about how you are mentally prepared for the exam. Right now, don't pick up any new topic and start studying. No, it's okay. You have already prepared for so many months. You just need to just go through it once. Do it in a way in which I'm just telling you right now, the last minute, you just need to keep your head cool. That's the most important thing. That's where students miss. And in my opinion, half the students fail before they enter into the exam hall, not in the exam hall. They fail before they enter into the exam hall because of this 4-letter word called fear. Because of this fear, I am a victim to this. I have skipped multiple attempts in my CA final because I didn't even have the guts to go face the exam. I'm telling you guys, if you are one such person who is fearing about the exams, the only way to overcome fear is to go bloody face it. You face it. Maximum what can happen? You can fail. That's all, no? Beyond that, nothing will happen. Fine. What is more important? There are many more important things in your life. Maximum, this is what can happen. You will not fail, I'm telling you. But if at all this thought process comes in, just tell yourself, now, how will I overcome fear? I will go face it. I will go sit in the exam, write it. Whatever it is, let me just see. Because if you keep on postponing or if you keep on avoiding it, it will never work out. It will never work out. Are you clear with this? So have this in your mind, guys. And remember the saying, work hard in silence. Let your success make all the noise. So I'm sure you guys have really prepared well and you guys are going to make it to the top. Have the self-confidence in yourself. I will meet you all in CA final. That's it from my side for today, guys. Thank you all so much and bye-bye.